welcome back to Mancave Moments. We're your hosts. I'm Pat Greeny Green.
And I'm Dale the Goose Gossip.
Awesome. Well, hey, we really appreciate you joining us for this episode. Hope you enjoyed episode 1. Got to know a little bit about our crazy selves, some of our family stuff, and all of that. Today, we're going to roll right into our topic of the day.
Topic of the week, since we're shooting.
You're right. Topic of the week.
Yeah.
Topic of the week. The toe.
The toe.
T-O-W. Topic of the week.
Oh my God.
What's better than tot-wa?
Yeah.
The tot-wa?
Yeah, no.
Like, you're killing me here.
Yeah, just, no. All done. All done.
The N-I-L.
Mixed thoughts on that on my take. I mean, I like that these kids are getting paid because these universities are making millions and millions of dollars every year off of these kids.
These kids are going to school for free.
Okay, that you're absolutely right. They're going to school for free. But the average 1 year for room and board and books is not $100 million.
It's not.
But like you have Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, LSU. These programs are making hundreds of $1 million football programs each year.
Fantastic. They've got to support the rest of these sports programs.
But
baseball's making how much?
I
The women's rowing team.
They probably don't make any. But what I'm saying is some of these kids, they don't deserve, in my opinion, $3.5 million a year. Maybe $20,000 max. Cap it. You got to cap it somewhere.
Okay.
Because once you're in Division I, you are not allowed to have a job. It's not that you're not allowed to have the job. There's no time.
You don't have time. I roomed with the punter in college. Adam Ryder, fantastic guy. We were at practice all the time.
Yeah.
He was practicing. We had spring ball. Like, the dude didn't have time to, hold down a normal job. I know
not
that
even a real part-time job.
Correct. And I know that I had people that I went to school with that worked 40 hours a week and took classes just to get through college.
So, should they get money? Yes, they should get some kind of stipend.
Okay.
Should they get $3.2 million? Like, I'm looking at this right now. Bryce Young.
Yep.
He is at his NIL, $3.2 million.
Is what he's made so far.
It's what he's valued at for the year.
That's only for this year.
For this year. If I'm reading this right. I could be wrong, but I'm going off.
You're probably wrong. But
I'm going off actionnetwork.com.
Okay.
Okay. So CJ Stroud, $2.8 million. Okay. Caleb Williams, $2.4 million.
But Caleb Williams also is a part owner of a men's grooming company. Did you know that?
Is he really?
He is. What? He is. That's part of. He can do that. He can put his name, his image on the door.
Right. I'll give you that. The only NIL person that I could know what their NIL is, there's two people.
Yeah.
There's Paige Beckner.
Okay.
Buckner, how do you...
Bukers, I think I say Bukers, I don't know.
Okay.
Superstar at UConn.
Gatorade.
Yep.
She's the only one I've seen in a national commercial.
She also has deals, or has had deals, as of July of this year.
Okay.
With StockX and Cash App.
Okay, but you don't see her...
And Bryce Young, just signed with BMW. There's a lot of money there.
There's a ton of money. But what this really is, and what it comes down to, is which boosters for those schools can raise the most money to pay these kids. That's what it's coming down to.
Agreed.
Because if you look at the only reason I know is because I was driving through Louisville, and the quarterback for Louisville, Malik, is Planet Fitness. He's the only one.
Huh.
Those are the only two people that I've seen. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, I'm not out there traveling the country, so I'm not sure what's going on in LA. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I know that Paige is Gatorade, and I know that Malik is Planet Fitness in Louisville. Mm-hmm. I'm just going over your notes right now. Deion Sanders' son, I did hear he signed with TB12, Tom Brady. Got to give him my plug because love me some Tom Brady. But what do these kids do? You don't see them on commercials. I see commercials all the time for Subway. Never seen Bryce Young. The only Bryce Young commercial I've seen is Heisman House for Nissan. And that's not even really an NIL. He's in it because he's a Heisman winner.
Correct. Correct. But you're talking about Deion's kid, right?
Yeah.
Shador, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic athlete.
Yeah.
Pretty good quarterback.
From what I have heard and read, They say that he should be in the Heisman hunt. But he goes to a HBCU, nothing wrong with that.
No.
It brings good football players out.
Doesn't get the media coverage.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's why I can say I've heard. I haven't seen.
Yeah.
I don't have cable TV. I don't have ESPN. I can't watch the games. I haven't seen him play. But we've got Gatorade he's signed to.
Yeah.
Beats. We talked about TB12. Mm-hmm. He's also in that damn Dan and Oikos commercial. The 000 with his dad.
I did not know that.
Stronger. You haven't seen that one yet?
I haven't seen that one yet.
No. Maybe that's because I watch a bunch of streaming services and they
watch
replay the same commercials over.
Shit TV, in my opinion.
I do. Here's a name you probably don't know. I was doing a little research. Olivia Dunn.
So I do know who she is.
Okay.
Only because she's a TikTok superstar.
She is according to the research I was doing, she is one of the most followed college athletes on social media.
Yep.
She's got some deals with American Eagle.
Yep.
Too Faced Cosmetics.
What?
Very high-end brand.
Okay.
Very high-end brand.
Is that does Ulta sell it?
Yes, Ulta sells it.
And the only reason I know Ulta's a what do you call it, makeup store?
Yeah.
Is because your wife worked there.
For over a decade.
Yeah.
And then Grubhub. Right?
But here's the thing. I see Grubhub commercials. I see Gatorade commercials. I see Beats commercials. I see Fanatics commercials. I don't see any of these kids.
Correct, but what do the kids need to do? Here's the thing. Think about the commercials you have with certain people, right? You have, you bring in Tom Brady, Hertz, right now, right? He's got a Hertz commercial.
Yeah.
Right? So you got Tom Brady in it. How much money did they have to pay Tom Brady to be in the commercial?
It was out of this world.
I'm sure it was very
But
crazy.
if they're getting money from these organizations, I expect to see them advertise when I'm on my web browser, pop-up ads. I'm expecting a commercial to see them in it.
Okay. Just because it's not a national ad doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
You're right. You're right. And that's what I said earlier.
If she's with Grubhub, maybe down in Baton Rouge, there are Grubhub commercials airing with her in the market she's in.
You're right. But being that she is a well-known figure, you would think that they would spotlight her in a national commercial.
You would think so.
Good for her. Good for these kids getting money.
Yeah.
I just think that it's not being monitored in the most effective manner.
Well, here's part of the problem. It's not. There's no federal legislation over it.
No.
Everything is done at the state level and the university level.
Well, the question is where do they draw the line? Because Quinn Ewers, he's on our list. He's now the quarterback at Texas.
Yep.
He essentially dropped out of school or graduated after his junior year by taking summer classes.
Okay.
Signed $1 million NIL deal at the age of 18 when he should have been a senior in high school.
Okay.
Went to Ohio State. My assumption is he knew he wasn't going to play there because he was sitting behind C.J. Stroud.
Okay.
C.J. Stroud was only a freshman. He's a sophomore this year. And he's sitting there doing nothing, getting $1 million. Literally not seeing a second in the game. And he's getting paid millions of dollars. Not a second, not a snap. Where do you draw the line? Are more kids going to drop out of... I don't want to say drop out, because they actually have to graduate to get into college.
Correct.
So whether they drop out, get their GED, finish early, whatever it may be, where do you draw the line?
I don't know. Because here's the thing. You've got, in high school, you still have to deal with your high school athletic association.
Yeah.
And again, then you go back to your state.
Yep.
What are your licensing restrictions within the state, right? Now, how does that compare to what school you may pick?
Exactly.
Just because you're okay to do it in the state of Indiana, where we live, and just because I like Indiana University and they're accepting of it, doesn't mean that Michigan, one state above us, with another prestigious state university, two of them, are going to accept me having... Michigan State's prestigious.
Is it prestigious?
Academically.
Is it, though?
Yes.
Little Brother is not prestigious.
It has a fantastic logistics program.
We
are in logistics.
Yeah, I know, but I like to take shots at Old Sparty.
That's fine. You're allowed to take shots at Old Sparty, right? Tom Izzo just whooped up on Kentucky in double overtime. An unranked Michigan State.
Here's the thing, though. Tom Izzo, in my opinion...
Okay.
Tread
lightly on this.
Top 3 college coach when it comes to March Madness ever. My opinion. Personal opinion.
Aside from Coach K, who's your number one then?
Coach K is number one.
Who's number two?
Oh, John Wooden.
You have Coach K over Wooden.
The reason
10 championships in a row.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. However, in Wooden's era, there was like 8 good teams.
Yeah, and he got all of the players to come to him.
And yeah, you're right. But when it became more parity and it started to grow and grow and grow,
yeah,
Coach K's got more wins. Coach K's got more Final Fours. He does not have.
They didn't have Final Fours back then when Wooden played. They just had a championship.
No, they have a tournament.
A small one.
It was what
the National Invitational.
Yeah, it was what the NIT is now,
yes.
But it was 32 teams.
No, it wasn't 16.
Was it 16? Well, either way, 16 teams and 8 of them are good.
Yeah,
that's 50%. Now, nothing at all against Wooden. He was a great coach.
He was.
I didn't get to see him coach, so therefore I have a little bit of bias on that.
Understood.
I also didn't.
I'm not going to argue with. I throw all 3 of them. When you're talking the playoffs, you're talking the postseason. I'm fine with those 3.
Outside of that, I mean, I don't think you really have. I would say the old coach at Villanova, Jay Wright, he was probably in the top 5. But outside of that, I don't know who you got. To be honest, maybe Lute Olson. He was at Arizona.
Yeah,
he's probably in the top 5. But
Self's made a name for him. Bill Self's made a name for himself.
Yeah, I have
Roy Williams at 2 schools.
Yeah, but he didn't win national.
Dean Smith.
Yeah, the Tar Heels. Yeah.
I know you're a Duke fan. It's hard for you to admit when other people.
But Roy Williams didn't do anything at Kansas as far as
Bob Knight.
If chair throwing is legal, he's the best.
Well, yeah.
Choking people.
He also won how many national championships?
3 or 4.
3 or 4, yeah.
So also the last one to go undefeated.
Again, slightly different eras.
Yeah, that's correct.
He struggled coaching
in the
era. Yes,
of entitlement. The era of entitlement is what I'll call it.
You know what? That might have to be a podcast.
Ooh, I like it. All right, well, let's get back on Tara.
All right.
I mean, we're all over the place.
We are.
But that's just how we roll, though.
It is. And, it all stems from these kids going to college.
Yeah.
These kids being financially supplemented in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. And when they first announced this, I thought it was an absolute travesty to college sports. It was a joke. It was pathetic. You've shed light on it. You've brought me into the fold. I am much more of a believer. But, and I hate to be the one to even say this, I hate regulation. I hate governmental regulation, especially unnecessary governmental regulation. However, we live in a society that allows us to run amok. And we're talking about 18, 19, 20, and 21-year-old
I would say
kids.
For the most part, they're probably 18, 19, 20.
Yes. So, that being said, I do believe that we need some form of a more universal regulation that is equitable across the board.
Yeah.
Right? And here's kind of how I think I would position it. I think you probably are going to agree with me on this, right? Is we limit the amount of money the individual athlete is allowed to take home. So, example here, right? Let's go with Gatorade. Gatorade has money, they advertise, boom, right?
Yep.
Gatorade can contribute up to said dollar amount. I'd even go 6 figures, $100,000 a year.
Okay.
They can contribute more to that athlete in order to engage that athlete and sign them, but the extra and above has to go to the university, specifically the general athletic fund of the university. Okay, because this person is famous because they're in athletics.
Yes.
Right? They're making a name for themselves because they're in athletics and they're doing well. I'm okay with them getting, and maybe $100K is too much. Maybe I'm being too extreme, but I want the young adult to have the opportunity to make some cash.
Yeah.
Above that, we're talking about $1 million. There's no reason that guy needs $1 million.
No, and
but give him $100 and give the university $900 to spend on the rest of the athletic program.
Okay, I like that.
You know what I mean? However they get extra scholarships, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, poke holes in it.
I mean, it is what it is. They have to get some kind of regulation, some kind of control, because who's to stop? I mean, I'm just looking at the table right now. Michigan is number 2 in NIL money as far as the average that their players receive.
Okay.
And they're at 6. It averages out across the board for their athletic department and their student athletes, $65,000 a person.
Okay.
Like, to me, that's I would probably say 75.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, also, these are all 1099 kids.
Okay.
Who's teaching them the financials behind this?
No one.
What would you have done at the age of 19 if somebody said, here's $3.2 million? What would you have done with that $3.2 million?
Well, it wouldn't have been coke and strippers. I would have invested some of it. I would have blown a lot of it. Would I have known about paying my taxes the right way? No, not at all.
I don't want to say that I would have. I would like to say in hindsight I would have invested it. But as a 19-year-old kid, you give me 3.2, it's all gone. I ain't gonna invest shit.
Oh no, I would have invested it because again, we both came up with not a lot. Right. You know, we were not wealthy kids growing up. No. You know, some of our favorite toys were sticks because we could find them. Yeah. We didn't have to buy them. No. So I definitely would have found a way to invest. Now, would I have invested nearly what I needed to? No. Would I have taken $3.5 million and invested maybe $100,000 somehow and probably lost it? Probably. Right. My investments probably would have turned more into major liabilities.
Right. Yeah.
But I would have been thinking, how do I make this money last? And at the same time, I'd have been rolling around.
I really hope that universities are putting financial planners and financial literacy coaches on their staff at the schools to teach these kids.
They need to.
Because they're 1099, they got to pay taxes quarterly.
Yep.
If they're even a day late, they get fined hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
So, no, I want to know if it's bothering me.
Oh, okay. I see the screw. That was bothering me.
But what do you think taxes on 3.2 is? Just rough estimate.
Well, according to National Treasure, I believe it's like $6 million.
I just heard they're doing a
third one,
and they're also doing a series on Disney Plus.
Oh, that's going to be outstanding.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be in the series. It's not going to be the main cast.
That's what I even saw that in the third one. I don't believe Nicolas Cage is coming back. I don't know.
Really?
I don't follow up.
He's got to come back because the next movie's got to be page 47. It's got to be page 47.
I believe it's supposed to be an heir of his. That's going to be it.
That's the show. That's the show.
That's the show.
The show. It's supposed to be his grandchild.
Okay, so years into the future.
Years in the future.
Unless there was a kid that he didn't know, like when he went to Patrick's door, and he assumed that she was pregnant.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. I can't wait till Harrison shows up at your door, being that you're a Patrick.
That's probably the first question I'm going to ask. Is she pregnant?
But anyway, back to reality here. Literacy coaches.
Yes.
Financial advisors. And limiting the top dollar you can get. That would be the first 3 areas that I think they really need to rein in. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of these kids are doing great things with their money.
There's a lot of them that are giving back.
Like C.J. Stroud, quarterback of Ohio State, bought every single gentleman on his football team a brand new suit with his money.
Okay.
Because he said that we all need to look good. We have an
image to uphold.
Right. And as much as I hate Ohio State, I love that he did that.
Well, that's what a real university and a real leader does.
Yeah. Blake Corum at the University of Michigan last year took his NIL money, and the Sunday before Thanksgiving
relived the scene from Varsity Blues.
No. Okay. No, he relived the scene from American Gangster, where Bumpy's in the back of his box truck handing out turkeys to everybody.
Gotcha.
Blake Corum did that.
That's fantastic.
The center for Iowa, he's in the NFL now, gave a bunch of his money to the Iowa Hospital.
The Children's Hospital.
The Children's Hospital right there.
Yep.
J.J. McCarthy took some of his money and he donated it to the Children's Hospital in Ann Arbor. So, I mean, they're doing great things. And I appreciate that they are wise enough to give back.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they continue to do that, I'm okay with them making a little bit more money so they can actually give back, because without that, these kids aren't going to have all of that stuff. Like,
True.
I guarantee you that there are guys on Ohio State's football team who do not have the money to go buy a $400 suit.
No, I completely agree.
So, things like that, I love to see it. And as long as they're giving back, I'm okay with bumping the number up.
Okay.
Because they have a charitable contribution. So.
It's all about the tax breaks for you.
It is.
No, but I get it. They're taking money, they're giving it back to the community.
They're reinvesting in their community, essentially.
Yes. Yeah, I like it.
So, everybody's got a new suit down in the state down south.
Mm-hmm.
Kids and families get to eat up in Ann Arbor. Kids get medicine over in, where is Iowa? The University of Iowa. Because Iowa City is Iowa State. I couldn't tell you where I was at. I don't know. But kids over there getting more medical treatment, things like that. So as long as they're giving back, I'm on board with a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
So I think that is part of the stipulation.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I can go with that.
All right. So, other than that, that's kind of what NIL is.
Yeah.
It's kind of where we're at. We're at the super infancy stages still. We're still learning about it. There's been multiple coaches who are out there saying, well, this is basically BS. Your boosters are just paying for players. Mm-hmm. And then you've got other coaches refuting that. And just let's get it under wraps. Let's
come to a consensus. Have some rules.
Get a committee. They got a committee for the CFP.
Yeah, and they can't get it right.
No,
so
they cannot.
Maybe they don't need a committee for this.
I think it's got to be a committee of no boosters and nobody at the school level.
Yeah.
It's got to be who's the guy that you like? Dave Ramsey. It's got to be who's the guy? God, GC's his initial. Grant Cardone.
Yep.
Grant Cardone.
Okay.
People who know what the hell they're doing with money.
Yep.
That's who needs to be on this committee.
Okay, I like it.
That's my opinion.
I like it.
So
I like it. So, and that will lead into this week's version of What's Grinding Greeny. So, in this week's version of What's Grinding Greeny, we're going to talk about Aaron Judge's contract. Brian Cashman, if you're out there, you hear this and you haven't already signed him by the time we release this, I've got it for you, locked and loaded, right? We want the contract to be fair to both parties, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm saying let's go with 8 years. I know that's a lot for a guy being 30. $320 million, right? Everybody cares about the big number and everybody cares about this AAV, this average annual value. 320, 8 years, we're looking at $40 million a year. That's a pretty darn good contract, especially for the guy that's probably, before we get done shooting this, going to win the American League MVP for 2022. Now, how that breaks down, this is the key to this. We're going to front load this baby. We're going to go the first 3 years at $50 million a pop. So we're looking at $150 million. Cool thing is, after year 3, if he's still wanting to roll the dice on him, we're going to give him a player opt-out. If he wants to opt out, go for it, right? Then we're going to break it down to years 4 through 8, right? We've got 5 more years left. So year 4, we're going to pay $45 million. Year 5, we're going to pay $35 million. And year 6, we're going to pay $35 million. At this point, we give him another opt-out. He's 6 years in. He's 36 years old. He's basically sucked up the value of this contract. He's played through what we would probably consider as his prime. But let's say he wants to stay, right? Let's say he doesn't believe that his market value is going to get him another 3 to 5 year deal at 36. That's very likely. He's a 6'7" individual that is incredibly talented, athletic, but larger than any other player we've seen in this era, right? So years 7 and 8, we're going to pay $30 million in year 7, $25 million in year 8. I think this is the way to go. I think this makes everybody happy. We've got some flexibility with those opt-outs. And you know what? If you wanted to tack on a couple mutual options or team options at the end of the contract, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But we want to take care of the player. We want to pay the guy for what he's worth now, not get a back-end loaded contract where he's struggling to stay on the field and just disintegrating down to a shell of nothing, and we're still forking out $40 million a year.
So I like that idea about front-loading contracts, because too often you get these massive contracts and they backload it, and then these players are just sitting on the shelf, not playing, wasting payroll, collecting money. It's like they're paying them for services they've already rendered.
Correct.
Versus paying them for services they're currently rendering.
We're in this really strange point in baseball, at least in baseball, where historically that's what it was. We went out and valued the player based upon what they did with a estimation. I'm not even going to go as a projection, but an estimation of what they could do in the future.
Correct.
And then in order to wrap things up into a nice, pretty package, we tacked on years and money.
Yep.
Okay. Now, in the last 5 to 10 years, baseball has become much more analytically driven, right? When we get these nerds and these statisticians, which I will lump myself into one of these categories, I'm
going to pause you just real quick there.
Okay.
I like the analytics, but I think there are too many coaches who are too all in on analytics, and they don't let the game play out.
I agree.
So
I agree. But I'm talking about the contract situation,
correct,
right?
Correct.
And so what we've seen over the last, let's say, 5 years, 7 years, we're not seeing the mega contracts. It's very rare to find a mega contract, and you don't find a mega contract for somebody over the age of 25.
Well, I don't know about that because...
No. Name one over the age of 25.
How old's Machado?
23, 24 when he signed.
Okay. How old was Bryce Harper when he signed?
22, 23.
He's older than that, and he just signed with the Phillies like 2 years ago.
A 5-year deal or 7-year deal.
But it was still huge money.
I'm not... No.
Mike Trout who doesn't play because he's hurt all the time?
Correct. When these guys signed their big boys, and we're talking like, look at the 10-year deal, they were in their early to mid-20s. Okay? You knew you would hope you got till 30, 35, right?
Mike Trout, 12 years,
$400 million.
$426 million.
Yep. When did he sign it?
I'm trying to get that right now, but go ahead while I look this up.
No, that's fine. So what we saw was we've seen very, very few of these contracts, right? Because you're right, you're exactly right. We had to watch A-Rod. We had to watch Albert Pujols, right? We had to watch some of these players that
Alfonso Soriano,
that signed these massive deals at the time, and unfortunately at the back end they weren't worth what they were getting paid.
2019 is when he signed it, so 3 years ago.
Okay.
He's now 31 years old, so he signed it at 28.
12-year deal at 28?
28 to 40. 20 to 39, technically.
Okay.
But still.
Okay, so I was a little off.
You were in the right ballpark, though, because that's still mid to late 30s. Or 20s, excuse me. Yeah. But these contracts are just so bad for these teams once you get past year 5.
Yeah.
Especially when, like, most of the time. There's not been... We'll see how Machado's was because he had an opt-out after 5.
Okay.
So I want to see how his plays out because I think he's got 2 more years left on his before he can opt out. But I think there needs to be, if you're going to do those deals, great, sign those deals. 1, I like your point, front load it.
Yep.
2, give options, both player and club.
Okay.
At multiple points after you've fulfilled 50% of your contract. So if it's a 10-year contract, after 5, the player gets 6, team gets 7, both get 8, 9, and 10.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's going to work, because what if you opt in and I don't want you anymore? So it would probably alternate it. Player, club, because here's the thing. If we'll just take Judge, his contract right now.
Yep.
Say that he signs this with the Yankees. Say he's kicking ass with the Yankees.
Yep.
But for whatever reason, at the end of year 6, the Yankees have only won 1 division and 1 wild card.
Yep.
And they're finishing 3rd and 4th in their division.
Yep.
And the club is not surrounding him with quality players to actually win.
The Aaron Rodgers factor.
Aaron Rodgers did that to himself. So
but again, if you're spending money on Judge,
but it's different because there's no
salary cap.
But
I know. I just like bringing up Aaron Rodgers to you all the time.
Because, you know,
Yes, how much you love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got talent. He's just a dickhead. But anyway, the players should be like, you know what? You're not fulfilling your obligation to the club and to the city and to the fans. I don't want to play here anymore. We're not winning. You're not bringing in the pitching that we need. You're not bringing in the shortstop that we need. You're not bringing in...
So what all the Cubs players did a few years ago when they left.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
and haven't come back.
To be honest with you, I would be shocked if Wilson Contreras comes back.
Okay.
I'd be shocked if Ian Happ comes back.
Okay.
The more I think about it, Rizzo didn't go back when he could have come back.
He could have.
But again, the Ricketts aren't showing their loyalty to the club and to the fan base.
Allegedly, there's going to be money thrown around this year.
No,
they want to be in on pitching.
You know
they
why?
want to be in on these top-tier shortstops.
Okay, but they're going at, in my opinion, they're going at it the wrong way because prior to this year, they said, "Oh, we don't have any money."
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
they went
weird.
to buy the
and then they tried to go buy what, Chelsea or something? Is that the league?
Yeah, that was the last one that was up for sale.
Like, how do you not have money, but then you go try to buy one of the most expensive teams in the most expensive league in the world? I mean, Liverpool is getting ready to be sold by Fenway Sports Group.
I know. I might be able to cheer. No, I won't be able to cheer.
Yeah, you're too much of a Man City homer. So, I mean, they're a great club. Don't get me wrong. They're a great club. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. They've won, what, 2 out of 3? 3 out of 4, somewhere like that?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
But nonetheless, if the team is not going to build around their stars, there's a problem with ownership. You know, it kind of goes back to the same Aaron Rodgers thing. Who wants to go to Green Bay to play?
True.
But you don't have that as much in baseball because it's not really cold but 20% of the season.
Correct.
And a lot of these places that are now being built north of the Mendoza line, or whatever we call it, the Mason-Dixon line, are now indoors or have a roof that will retract.
Yes.
So that's different. As new stadiums get built, they're putting on, I think Minnesota is the newest one that was built in the north, but they didn't put a dome on or a roof over it.
Yeah.
But like Milwaukee, dome. Toronto, dome. They can open it though, right?
Yeah, it's retractable.
It's retractable now.
Yep.
Up in Seattle, retractable.
Retractable.
Nope, not Detroit. But that's also been there for 20 years now. Yeah. So
just to let you know, let's see, it's been 4 of the last 5, and let's see, 6. 7 of the last 11.
Rub it in because I like Liverpool. City. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Liverpool got 1 in there.
Wasn't you know what I think?
Chelsea got 2. United got 1.
I mean,
and Leicester came out of nowhere and did something.
That was the craziest.
That was a fantastic season.
Long shot ever. That's like Seabiscuit winning the Derby. But again, I think that Liverpool in their year that they won it, had it not been COVID shutdown, they probably would have had the biggest differential from first and second place in the history of sport.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Because at that particular time, they were the only team that was 90% or better health-wise.
Oh, gotcha.
And they had to shut down, so all the other clubs were able to bring their players back and play the extra 15, 20 games. So that's just my fault. That's my opinion. Obviously, it's not fact.
Sure.
But
no, it makes sense.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, your take on the Aaron Rodgers contract, or Aaron Judge's contract, I loved it. It's spot on. Front load the shit out of it. Give options out. But you got to have options both ways because, you know, if you're in year 5 and you're hitting $120 and you've hit 20 home runs and you're at 30 RBI by, you know, the middle of the season, it's time to just be done. Oh, breaking news. It looks like he got it. Oh, wow. It looks like 28 first place, 2 second place. Ohtani was 2 first, 28 second.
Okay.
Total points, 410 to Judge and 280 to Ohtani. So, you know, Judge, I think one of the coolest things about him is he bet on himself.
He did. He rolled the dice.
And he, no pun intended, or pun intended probably, smacked the shit out of it.
Yeah, he did.
What, 60?
62.
62. Did you hear how much The guy turned down who caught the ball.
No.
Turned down $3 million.
Okay.
Taking it to auction.
Okay.
So that's.
I mean, it is the American League record for most home runs ever hit in Major League Baseball history.
Okay, so we usually do sports tidbits at the end.
Yep.
I'm gonna play off this and go sports tidbit now for mine.
Okay.
How long did it take for the record to be broken?
From the American League?
From Maris.
61.
How many swings did it take for him to hit 62 between 61 and 62?
61.
Tell me that is not just...
It's amazing.
That's just like full circle karma shit.
It is.
That's my sports tidbit fact of the day.
Awesome.
Now for my weekly segment, Flying High with the Goose. I'm going to piggyback off of what my good friend Greeny did over here and talk about baseball. Baseball is trying to develop and bring in more fan base, attract the younger fan base. As the baseball purists, if you will, start to get into that retirement age, start to get into the not really following baseball as much age, they hate all these new rules and way things are going. What is my biggest issue with Major League Baseball is the shift. I don't have a problem with shifting your players around so long as it doesn't give them a competitive advantage where a base hit to right field is going to be an out. You cannot put your third baseman, your shortstop, your second baseman 10 feet in front of your right fielder. To me, that is just absurd. If you want to do that, that's fine. However, I think you should do it where you have to pull your left fielder, and that's where the left fielder plays. Or you pull your center fielder, and that's where the center fielder plays. Right now, what's going into effect with the shift is there can only be 2 players inside or on each side of the bag. They're going to draw this weird-looking triangle or diamond, triangle behind second base, so nobody can be behind the second base wedge. You got to have your shortstop and your third baseman on the left side of the field, your second baseman and your first baseman on the right side of the field. Both feet have to be touching the dirt at the end of at the time of the pitch, or when the pitcher starts his windup. I mean, I don't like it, but I don't hate it. I would make some amendments to that. If you're going to shift, you can shift, but you cannot have your infielders play the outfield. They have to be, both feet have to be on the dirt at the time the pitcher releases the ball. The reason I say that is because I grew up playing baseball, and you're taught to get your momentum moving towards the batter. So if a player wants to start 3 feet back into the outfield and creep up, more power to him. It gets him in a good defensive position. It gets him into a good athletic position to make a move. Now, if you did that same concept where they have to start in the dirt, now they're really almost to the bag and in the baseline. To me, that's absurd. You got to modify it to allow them to do their every play routine. I don't like a short right fielder. I don't like the fact, what I also don't like is the players are home run or strikeout. I mean, sometimes it's on them, left-handed batters specifically, to just push the ball the other way. There's only 2 or 3 people that try it on a regular basis, and it works 30% of the time. But they are losing out on base hit opportunities because all they want to do is pull the gosh darn ball. You know what? That doesn't always work. I'm not a pull hitter, so that's probably why I'm a little more angry and biased about it. I mean, I'm a opposite field kind of guy. So my shift would be like a left-handed shift.
Yeah.
Like they would put the third baseman in short right field.
Yeah, problem.
And I would hit a frickin' frozen rope 3 feet over the second baseman's head. It's going to be a 4-hopper to the right fielder, and I'm going to have a base hit every single time. Well, because that's all I did, they would, theoretically do the same thing, reverse shift on me.
Yep.
I'd hit a 1-hopper to somebody in short right,
and they're going out by 30 feet.
30 feet, that's very generous of you.
I was talking about a slow pitch softball.
That's still very generous of you. That's very, very
You don't hit
generous.
the ball that hard that it's going to get there that fast. Even a 1-hopper.
Have you seen my beer belly? It takes me like 5 minutes to get out of the batter's box. Like, let's be honest.
All right.
Especially in slow pitch softball where everybody's right-handed and you're hitting in a crater that's 6 feet deep.
Oh, yeah.
I got to climb the ladder and then run.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what are your thoughts on the shift rule.
Yeah, I mean, for me on the shift, I think I'm a fan of you. I'm sick of seeing the second baseman or the third baseman playing shallow right field on lefties. And, here's the thing. We're taking away base hits on line drives. I don't like losing a base hit that I hit a ball on a line drive. If I nub a ball, if I try and pull an outside pitch and roll it over and get thrown out, that's on me. If I try and crush it because I think I'm a big badass pull hitter and try and launch one and hit a fly ball and get out, that's on me.
You know how far I'd hit a ball if I tried to absolutely crush it?
Probably straight up.
It's going negative. It's going in the stands behind me.
Yeah. So, when it comes to the shift, again, I see these guys, especially our left-handed hitters. You hit a solid base hit line, a 1 or 2 hopper to the right fielder, and there's a guy standing right there catches it.
Yeah.
And that to me is very frustrating being a fan, watching you didn't try and hit the ball out of the park. You didn't, strike out.
You tried to hit behind the runner a lot of times.
You tried to hit a line drive, and you did hit a line drive, and then you get nothing.
Okay, so hear me out on this.
Okay.
Co-ed softball.
Yep.
Kind of go back to our co-ed softball.
Okay.
They put a line in the outfield.
Yep.
That when females come up to bat, you cannot play in front of that line.
Yep.
Do you bring that into Major League Baseball if we're going to allow shifts where you have to use an outfielder to be your shift?
No, I think you just outlaw the shifts like they're doing.
See,
here's the thing. Okay. You must start in a mostly natural position.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, let's think. We've got a lefty up. Right? I'm fine. I'm okay. If you want to put a line 4 or 5 feet on the grass behind and say your infielders cannot start behind that line, and they have to move forward, I'm fine with that. But if you want to start with your shortstop as the pitcher has the ball, and then before the shortstop must be on the shortstop side of second base until the pitcher releases the ball.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. If they want to sprint the shortstop over to the other side of the base as the ball's being thrown, I'm not going to argue with that. But I want them to start in a more historic position.
See,
I'm fine with putting a line as long as it's... Because, again, I think all the infielders should start with their feet on the dirt. But I get the creeping. I get that whole concept.
Both their feet need to be on the dirt at the time the ball releases the pitcher's hands.
I would be fine if you put a 6-foot line in the outfield grass and said they just can't go past that. So if they start right on the line and they end up still 2-3 feet in the grass, I'm okay with that. Because there are some times, especially 2-strike power hitter, right? And I'm playing second base, and he's Dan Vogelbach size. That dude, he's a big dude. He ain't trucking down the line super fast.
No, he's not.
Right? I can be 4 or 5 feet in the grass, field a ground ball, and throw him out.
Yeah. See, I'm okay with the shift as long as the shift happens on the infield. Because the balls hit in the infield aren't the ones that I'm worried about to make an out on great contact.
Yeah.
It's the line drives that would be a 3-hopper to the right fielder or a 2-hopper to the right fielder that are getting picked off by somebody who is essentially out of position.
Yes.
Right place, right time deal.
Yep.
And then just, don't, that to me is not baseball. But if you want to put 3 people on the dirt on one side of the bag, I'm okay with that.
Okay. I can't argue. I'd be fine with that. Play devil's advocate with you is if they do the shift, these are Major League Baseball hitters.
That's another reason why it kind of...
Lay down a bunt. Hit a ball to the left side, to the opposite side. Now, I understand when you pay a guy $50 million to hit bombs, you expect him to hit some bombs.
Right, but then pay a guy $30 million to get on base so the $50 million guy can drive him in.
Exactly.
Pay the base hitters. That's all we... Javi Baez is one of my favorite baseball players to watch defensively.
Okay.
Dude is just El Mago. Pulls plays out of his rear end more so than anybody across Major League Baseball. Probably in the history of baseball, outside of maybe Omar Vizquel. No, was it Omar Vizquel?
For the Indians.
For the Indians. I was thinking of Alomar.
Roberto Alomar?
Yeah, those two guys made plays.
They made plays.
They might have been the best up the middle combo in baseball.
I would say maybe historically, yes.
But when he gets up to the bat, the dude is over the fence or back to the dugout 95% of the time.
Yeah.
And of the 95%, he's back in the dugout 50% of the time.
Yeah.
Because all he wants to do is hit bombs. You know what? A bomb's not one run. The majority of baseball games out there, it takes more than one run to win a game.
Correct.
The majority. Now, every once in a while, you're going to get the 1-0s.
Yep.
The 2-1s.
Yep.
Majority of games are a 2-run differential or more. Get on base or move the runner over.
What breaks a pitcher's back more? Giving up a solo shot or giving up base it, run.
Base it every time. You think about it. I'm just going to throw a number out there. This is not statistically correct.
Okay.
If the average amount of balls thrown to a hitter in a bat is 3, if you give up 7 hits in an inning, that's probably, call it 9 batters. We'll throw a double play in there.
Okay.
That's 9 times 3 is 27. If the player hits a home run and the other other 3 are out, that's 4. That's 12 pitches.
Yep.
12 or 18. That's an extra inning a game.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
Drive, run, hit behind the runner, move the runners, lay down bunts if they're going to overshift. Rizzo and Kyle Schwarber are the most popular two to do it, and that's probably because I'm biased on that because I'm a huge Cubs fan, but they don't play for the Cubs anymore, so I still follow them.
Yeah.
But I don't see anybody else doing it.
I don't. No. I mean, I was watching Aaron Hicks this year bat a $197, and fucking third baseman's playing behind second base. Like, literally all you had to do was put the butt down and pass the pitcher, and you might have had a double.
Yeah,
he's pretty quick. You might have had a double.
Hicks is fast.
Yeah,
he's
still wouldn't
fast.
do it.
No,
now, I will say he has the closest left-handed swing to Griffey.
Oh, the kid, man,
that I've ever seen. But you're batting a $197 with 15 home runs for the year.
Yeah. Oh, another fun stat. You'll get a kick out of this because I was just bashing on this dude all year long.
Okay.
The record for the Yankees when no base hit got up, you know who I'm talking about, Joey Gallo.
Okay.
With Gallo, they were like 50-20 or 60-20. You know what the record was without Gallo? 29-29. Like, the dude couldn't hit the broadside of a barn this year.
Yep.
And when they had him on the roster, they were winning.
Yep.
But the moment they traded him away, they went even. Now, I'm going to correlate that to not great pitching down the stretch, guys getting tired down the stretch, because it was the last third of the season. So,
yeah.
But I just think it's funny that.
It is.
Oh God, that dude was terrible. I mean, we were just talking not too long ago. Somebody had more hits.
Didn't Judge hit more home runs than Joey Gallo had base hits this year?
I think it might have been. I think it was, that. And then there was another stat that Joey Gallo's been in the league like 6 years now. And I want to say one of the young stars that are...
Yes, Joey Gallo in 2022 had 56 hits.
To 62 home runs.
62 home runs for Aaron Judge.
But then if you look at his career stats, he's got less than 300 in 6 years, 7 years?
Let's see if we can see career. Okay, here we go. His career is 415 hits.
And how many years is that?
It doesn't say.
Oh, it doesn't say.
No, it just gives me a whole thing.
There's a guy that's been in the league 3 years. I wish I could do his name, but I saw this on ESPN or Baseball Tonight or one of those fun baseball programs that I love to watch. There's a kid who's been in the league 3 years and has 55 more hits in his 3 years than Gallo has in his 6 or 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Like, don't get me wrong, he's a plus defender.
Yeah.
He's got a cannon.
He can go get the ball.
But the dude is just awful.
He just couldn't hit in New York.
In New York or even
in Texas he was okay.
First 4
in Texas,
years.
he was a 220 hitter, 40 home runs.
Right.
Okay.
But then
in New York, he was a .095 hitter with 7 home runs.
But he started to decline his last couple years in Texas. So,
well, let's move on to our bold predictions and with our lock of the week.
Okay. So let's define this before I make mine.
This is who we think is going to win.
What football? College, NFL.
You know what? We're moving into baseball season.
Basketball
season. We're in the NFL. We're in college football. I'm going NFL. Okay. I think NFL is easier to pick. Now, not necessarily for your lock of the week, because you can basically pick Michigan up until the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And you're good. Because Michigan's going to win.
You could say the same thing about Ohio State.
Well, no, because you can still pick Ohio State the Saturday after Thanksgiving as your lock of the week.
I would never.
Because they're going to win.
How are we friends? Please tell me. Please tell me how we're friends.
We like good bourbon.
Oh, yeah.
Today's episode.
4 Roses, single barrel. I actually finished the bottle. So
fantastic. I wish we had more.
I kind of wish we had more, too. But
we can go tomorrow to the liquor store.
We are going tomorrow to the liquor store because we're buying a bottle of bourbon for the work auction for the Christmas family. We are going to donate. We're just going to donate a bottle of bourbon that will be raffled off at our office. And along with several bottles of bourbon. I think we may get up to 10 bottles of bourbon. Last I talked to Turk, it was 9 people confirmed.
So we can end up with 10 bottles of bourbon. People are going to be able to buy tickets. All the money raised is going to go to help these 3 families that we've adopted for Christmas. So, all right, lock of the week. This week, week 13 in the NFL, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions at home over the lowly Jags.
So my lock of the week, if we're going to go that route, would be Michigan beating the team down south. However, I'm going to stick with the NFL that week, and my lock of the week is actually going to be Chiefs over the Bengals.
Okay.
And I'm going to take it one step further, and I'm going to double-digit win.
Wow. Okay.
That's my lock.
Well, now we're going to do our dark horse of the week. I'm sticking with the NFL. I'm looking at the Raiders. The lowly Raiders to pick up a win at home against the Chargers.
I can't handle you right now. I really can't. So here's my philosophy. And we talked about this all week. We've talked about this a million times. Mm-hmm. Our beloved Indianapolis Colts. We love them.
Yes.
We hate them at the same time.
Yes.
The teams they should beat, they get massacred by. Mm-hmm. The teams they have no business beating,
they usually win.
Like, look at week 4, maybe? Week 3?
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like the Chiefs. Yeah. Arguably the best offense in the league.
Yeah.
Colts beat them.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time. When you go back and you look at good old Andrew Luck, when the Sheriff came home to play, what happened? Colts win.
Yep.
When Tom Brady comes into town and his team's 10-plus wins and the Colts are 5-plus wins, for whatever reason, Colts do it.
Pull one out.
Like, are you absolutely kidding me? I'm going to take the Colts over the boys. Primetime game down in Jerry World.
I like it. So you've already given us your obscure sports tidbit.
Yep.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is the most strokes ever recorded on a single par 4 hole in PGA Tour history?
22.
No.
Was I close?
You're close.
All right.
16.
Okay.
Kevin Na in the 2011 Valero Open.
Interesting.
Yeah, I never knew that.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
That about does it for this one.
Thanks for flying with us.